Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Again.
Here we go.
I am tired.
Oh, yeah. Sleepy tired.
So we're on number 2.
We're on number 2.
I had to dart out and pick up my kid from an art class.
Right. Did you get to see any of his stuff? Or
Yeah, he hides it pretty well, but
Yeah.
his art teacher's very effusive with compliments and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's it's so cool that he that he draws and he likes to.
Yes, it is. It's good, and then it makes me worry less about his normal school activities,
Right.
which are, it's slightly dismal.
Right. I mean,
Grade-wise
it's
and
everybody. Yeah, everybody has a. I mean, it's always the thing is it's so hard. I know people who don't have like a passion.
Yeah, right.
And so it's kind of cool that he has one.
Yeah.
Because it'll keep him sane in times when he's kind of bumming that the rest of his life it might be a mess.
Definitely. You
Right?
can draw anytime. You can always draw. Yes, for sure.
Stand-up saved my life.
Yeah.
So
you don't even have to leave the house to get a spot. You just pull out a book.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, what a life this has been.
It's been a hell of a life.
I keep thinking, okay, so if I could record an album, because
This will be the week after. You're in your second week on the road.
yes,
when
I'm
this
going
drops.
to. I'll be in New York tonight through Wednesday, and then I'll be in Vermont at the Burlington Comedy Club, and then San Francisco the next week at the Punchline,
Right.
the 16th through the 19th. Okay,
Tell a story while I see where I'll be.
okay. Well, it's okay. It's hard to talk to someone who's poking around on their iPhone.
Stare deeply into Kyle's eyes.
You're posing like a statue with your hand on your fist.
That's my listening face.
It's,
I like it. Your listening face, I would rather it be directed at the computer. I'm sitting with the two worst listeners, and I've been told to tell a story.
oh, well,
Where aren't you in France?
I think I'm in France.
Okay,
I'm still not working. I'm still not working, you
Did you
guys.
just take out your iPhone so you could say again you're in France? We fucking get it. You're in France.
I'm just devastated I'm not doing any stand-up, but it's going to be amazing. I'm going to go look at a cave.
It'll be relaxing.
Yep.
You come back here fired up.
Fired up.
Ready to send your avails.
Ready to send my avails, and then and I'm doing another one of those NASA things.
NACA?
NASA.
Oh, NASA.
Where I interview two astrophysicists.
Oh, okay.
And it's essentially a dork forest, but it's a Facebook Live.
Oh, cool.
And I do it over at Jet Propulsion Labs or Caltech or whatever, some smarty magoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pasadena. So this album is like, it'll be the last, say, 10 years, minus my dad stuff, obviously.
Right.
And I was like, what is this? I'm just collecting material until I have enough for an album. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's the job.
But I talked to Gary Goldman a little bit today. You know, he has a special
Yep.
on depression. He said he wrote it in like less than a year.
Right.
And I
You got a theme.
right when I was doing my dad's stuff, that was like 7 months, right?
You had a
it was
theme.
I had a fever, right? That this is more like, let's just get this on recorded before I can't stand it anymore, which is a
Yeah.
different motivation for an album.
Right.
Which
but
I don't know.
I do.
I guess it's
I have
fine,
3
right?
of those albums.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is what I do is I spend 3 years writing material, and there's never been a theme. You know,
Right.
sadly, and I've gotten some comments where people are like, "You repeated a joke between the Bread album and the Horcrux album," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's because this is the story of my life, and
Yeah.
to get the new joke about the old thing, I have to tell you the old joke, and so you get an extra yuck." That you're like, oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And so there's very little duplication. You know, there might be 1 or 2 lines that are duplicated from one album to the next, but that's because the only through line is my life. There is no arc.
I do have so I have this one joke from my dead dad joke about it's, when the wrong parent dies first, right?
Yep.
And so my friend Ross Bennett pointed out that I stole it from myself because I used to have a joke about, can you imagine, because Barbara Bush, okay, so this is sad. One of her children died.
Yes.
And so that's awful. And then my joke was like Barbara Bush, one of your children is cancer. And then they tell her which one. And she's like, you mean the dumb one's healthy? It was when George Bush was at his most hated, it did very well.
And what I love is that this is all you hate cancer. And you hate when anyone does. And
But
you
it
have
was
a
the
kid.
same thing of I want one person, the wrong person
It's the
dies.
same joke, yeah.
So then I
the same
realized
premise.
I was doing, and again with, and I might do this, I don't know if I'll do this joke in this CD or not, but something about having a miscarriage and then my kid's grades are so bad, like I clearly miscarried the wrong fetus. Like I had a smart one that was like, get the fuck
You
outta
were
here.
working on that for a while. Have you tried
I go
that?
in and out, but I mean, here's the thing. That's a theme in my life.
Yep.
Is that I'm left with the wrong person, and it might come up again.
You know what?
What?
It's coming up on this couch because I'm like, who does she want to do this podcast with? Anyway, so just I'm wondering if I'm the wrong
Oh
co-host.
no, you are the right
No,
person
that's
at the
it
right
for the
time.
right job.
Jackie. You can't replicate this magic.
What about that premise that you had? It was a tweet about how you didn't have any empathy until you had a kid.
Oh right,
That's a great premise.
I've written it down.
Yep.
and I will
and it sits in
examine
your
it
notebook.
later when I'm done
With this album?
Yeah, fucking
Oh, okay.
putting these bricks in a wall.
Okay.
and
All right, don't
ending
break
them.
yourself in.
Well, it's weird. Like I'm like, once I get all this stuff done, because this is like a thing that's been building. Like I haven't had a goal. I had a goal of doing a late night set on Conan. That was 2016. 2017 was Montreal, right?
Right.
So I did a gala, and then 2018 I just sort of like, what am I doing? And now it's like 2019. What am I doing?
Right.
Or maybe Montreal was 2018.
I want to do another late
I
night
forget.
set. And,
I do too.
And I had an idea for one.
Right.
And then I got sucked into this new album world, and
Right.
I got distracted.
Well, when you're done with it, now all you have to do is come up with 5 minutes to send to various bookers,
Right, the
And
people.
you have something to promote.
Yeah.
That's good.
That'll be good. That's true. Is I could just wait for that, which is why. Maybe that's why I'm waiting.
Yeah. One
Sure.
thing at a time.
Well, and I was, the whole cut your act up into chunks and put it on the internet,
Right.
the Instagram thing.
Yes.
I grabbed that set from the Comedy Works this Sunday, and I was like, oh, maybe I could cut that up. I'm like, no, these are all brand new. That's stuff that's not on any albums.
Right.
So you don't want to put that on the internet.
Right.
The stuff I want to put on the internet is, and granted, I keep doing these radio sets with new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did the Viking thing on NPR, and I did the Push the Old Man thing on HBO. And so stuff is, and both of those jokes, have new tags and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
So, I mean, an iteration. I had some woman come up to me who listens to the show at some gig I was doing the last couple of weeks, and she goes, "I like what you've done with the old man story. I like that it's a lot. If you added a couple of lines." And I was like, "Who do you do stand up?" And she's like, "No, I just listen to Jackie and Laurie."
oh no.
And I was like, "Awesome, you nailed it, lady." I was like, "You're watching stand up with a different eye. Interesting, interesting."
Yeah.
It's so. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they'll get it out there, but I wonder what it'll feel like. Like, okay, I can, except for if I'm trying to do a late night set, then I have to work on chunks, but then, or, stuff that's already good, right?
Yeah.
Or already done-ish. But then it's like, where do I start? Will I want to restart? What if I don't want to do comedy anymore? What if I'm like, I'm done. I fucking dropped this.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Do you imagine that ever?
I don't know. I think about it all the time, but then I don't know what else I do. But I mean, fucking Mike Birbiglia is doing one-person shows. He's got a new play.
Yep.
Jim Gaffigan's doing movies. Like
Yep.
all these other comics our age, or Birbiglia's younger, but are also doing other things, and I feel like, well, I feel like I haven't had the what I want in my career as a stand-up. It hasn't happened yet, so I can't leave stand-up, but these other people, they've had HBO specials, or they've had one, ding ding ding, whatever it is,
right?
They've had it, so now they can go, hey, maybe I'll do a movie, maybe I'll do a play. And so am I just stuck in this box that I put myself in when I was 20, when I started stand up, and
because there's something you have to tick off before you can make a lateral move and do and do something else.
Look at Marin, right?
Yep.
I mean, he's on his second TV show. He does movies. He also does stand up. So he's kind of like, he's firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
As
Bamford
an
does.
artist.
Yeah, Bamford has.
Yes.
She's done all the specials, and then she also did the sitcom, and she does a lot of voiceover work.
Yeah.
I would like to do voiceover work. You know how you get to do that? You put some work into that, or unless the people who have cartoons are like, please come and do it, which would be what happened to Maria. But
when she get famous.
Well, before she got famous,
she
she's
has a
always
great
done
voice.
voices.
Yeah.
Right. She's always done those voices.
But she also, now you're like, oh, that's Maria. When you hear her voice.
Yeah.
She's at that level,
And but I would have to come up with an audition tape, and then probably get a VO agent, and then do these things. And I have a friend of mine who teaches a voiceover class, and at the end of the class, you get an audition tape. So, and it's but she doesn't do it that often because she works a lot. Do you know Miley Flanagan?
I know that name.
She does the voice of Naruto, or Naruto.
My son is obsessed with Naruto.
Well,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He
watches it all the time.
Well, might be watching the same one over and over again, because I watched 18 of them, and I was like, and I called her up and I said, is it about friendship? And she goes, yes, it's about friendship. And it is so about, it's just, it's kind of like I've watched probably, I don't know, 3 seasons of Dragon Ball Z, and but the thing is it's the same kind of theme where it's a lot of, So, well, if the boy wants to meet Miley, that's an attainable goal.
Oh my God!
And
but here's my point: is this going to be our whole lives? Just
doing stand-up,
scrambling for spots and perfecting jokes and feeling guilty if you take a night off? Is that a life?
The first 2, I hope it's what it is. But I don't want to feel guilty because I take a night off, though. But I do. But I clearly do, right? Because I'm in France.
Yeah, you keep talking about how you're not performing.
And but I think it'll be like there are other things that I do want to do, but I think that if I take my eye off the stand-up ball,
right,
that I'll lose focus on the stand-up ball. You're right. You're right. Because
so have we just cornered ourselves and now we either quit and never do it again, or we always keep doing it, and it's always this. It's just a constant running theme in your life. And what are you when you're not doing spots? What kind of a person are you? Do you exist? Do I exist? Seriously?
Yes, you exist. What?
Oh, I know I exist, but for what? Who am I? I used to. Okay, so I was totally uncool growing up. I never had plans on Saturday night, right?
Yeah.
And when I started doing stand-up, all of a sudden I was busy every Saturday night. I didn't have to worry about being cool because I was fucking stand-up.
Right.
Didn't have to worry about New Year's Eve ever again. Didn't have to worry about parties. I always had gigs, and that sounds cool to anyone. To cool people think that's cool, right? That you have a gig, right?
Yep.
But when you take all that away from me, what am I?
Right.
I can't even talk to people.
Right. I mean, who am I if I'm not a comic? Is something. It's a existential crisis, quite honestly, that I went through when I was about 35, and that was when I decided that I wanted a boyfriend, and so I started doing the online dating thing, and I was like, I don't know if this will work, and I will continue to do stand up because the thing is stand up did so much for me because I was such a I was such a one-dimensional person anyway.
Right.
At least stand-up comedy gave me another dimension.
Right.
Now I was two-dimensional. Still wasn't a whole boy. Still wasn't Pinocchio. But I had more life than I ever had. I had another passion. I had another thing to do. And but I okay, here's my problem. I don't have an answer. I'm so sorry. But I mean,
That's okay.
But here's the thing is if I sometimes do think if I do the other things that I want to do, I want to write the book. I want to write a novel. I want to write, like, I want to write a memoir. I want to write a novel. I want to write this thing with my sister about my dad. And I want to write, and I want to do voiceover and maybe some acting and stuff.
Right.
If I take my attention off of the thing that is actually earning me a living right now,
Right.
A, it will affect my income.
Yes.
B, it will affect my stand-up. Because if I'm not as... I fear that if I'm not as concentrated on the stand-up, my stand-up won't be as good.
That's a logical fear. It happens to everybody if they take their
what
eye
if
off
this
the ball.
happens, though? If I take my eye off the ball and I do these other things, maybe I refill the well with other experiences, and then I can write new, interesting material
Sure.
about that. Because it was one of my greatest fears when my whole life has just been full of these weird fears, right? I was afraid when I stopped drinking that I wouldn't be funny again, that I wouldn't get work again because I didn't want to hang out as much. So I was like, people who hang out get work. People drunk stories are funny stories. I might not be funny.
Dude, whole fucking specials are drunk stories.
Right.
I'm like, you have your alcoholism
Series.
to thank for your career. I would love to be an alcoholic and have a couple specials.
Drunk History, a TV show dedicated entirely to getting people high or stoned or
Yeah.
drunk. I mean, there's all these things that feel like, hey, but all of those shows also have that weird, horrible reality TV vibe where you're just like, look at this mess. Maybe they'll die and it'll be a snuff film and we'll get it on camera. And
God.
which is literally an evil thought that I have, which is why they do them. But
Oh, really?
yeah, I literally think that that's why they do them.
Okay.
It's because they're hoping, like, remember the celebrity rehab thing with Kanicki? With the guy from...
No, with Dr. Drew.
Same thing, yeah.
Oh,
it's the
okay.
same thing? Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking... I only remember...
Patient, she's talking doctor.
Oh,
Right,
okay. Yeah.
And so I think they were just hoping that some of these these people who used to be famous would die on camera.
Jackie, I can't comment because Dr. Drew had me on his podcast. I'm sure that doesn't sound like the Dr. Drew I know.
Well, I don't know if he's the we could say it was the machinations behind the face of Dr. Drew. I don't know. I actually couldn't pick Dr. Drew out of a lineup. And I think he belongs in a lineup. I guess
my
is what I'm
God.
saying. What just
Whoa.
happened there? Bam.
we got it. We this is where we part ways.
Exactly.
But we'll
That
come
guy-
together on the
we'll-
next thing.
Exactly, the next thing. So,
Well,
but
I don't know. I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge,
Yeah.
right? I'm watching. I mean, she fucking must write nonstop, right?
Yeah, maybe she's Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But I mean, I have so much energy going to my kid, right? I have a huge amount of energy going to Conan. And then whatever's left over is ticked off by the bones, right?
right.
So
Right. But just think about
I'm like being picked clean by vultures every single day, wanting them to.
But also
they-
think about the other things that you've done in the last 4 years. You wrote a fucking book. And you did Conan, and now you're doing an album. So it's not like you're not overworking yourself. You're doing it.
No, but there must be some existence where.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's just a woman in your 20s, right?
Oh.
When you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
And you have
Limitless energy.
well, you also have a limitless future. You're like, if I want to have kids, that's next decade. If I want to get married, that's next decade. Or the next one, even in your 40s, right? So when you're female in your 20s, it's all open for you, right? That's Lena Dunham created Girls in her that is a definitely unique time in your life when there's the pressure, unless you have financial pressure, but which a lot of people do, but the pressure of the final decisions of being a woman are they're not pressing on you yet.
Okay.
You could just be your brain. You could
Okay.
just be a person.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe
now
that's just
today.
the window. And if you didn't do something in that window, now you've got these other. It's like Tetris. These things are now coming at you.
Right. And it freaks people out. And I'm sure there's something comparable. I look at Kyle in the male world. But in the female world, this fertility business is
And if you're
very
a
looming.
comic,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really
Did you
tough
see
decision
that?
to make.
So I'm listening to Pandora and Jenna Friedman's.
Oh, we didn't
about-
listen to it, but I saw you.
You saw
tweeted
that
it.
quote?
Yeah.
That is the greatest summation of. She was like, it's on her last album, American Cunt, and the name of the joke is Men, and it's about how she knows several women who have put their lives on their careers on hold for love, and how. It's men will do it too. There's something comparable, but men don't put their careers on. The men she has known that have put their careers on hold haven't done it for love, but they've done it to commit sex crimes. And and she's like, it's sort of comparable. And so I tweeted that, and she responded. She said, that joke came out of a conversation I had with CK.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I was like, holy.
Before it all came out, right?
came down. Yeah, yeah.
Her Conan set. Check out her latest Conan set, Jenna Friedman's. Great.
It
It's
was
great.
well, the theme was what was the theme again?
It was
True crime.
True crime and Ted Bundy, and yeah, it was great. You can check it out. Yes.
Damn, she is on fire. Her writing is outstanding.
Her and then either the day before or the day after, Nikki Glaser did panel, and she
Yeah.
just murdered. And it's like there's some fucking women that are fucking out there
We-
killing.
We are in a
cool.
golden age
Yes.
of like literally like late 20s to late 30s. These women coming up are murderers.
Yeah.
They are outstanding writers, and their performance is exceptional. Nikki Glaser's
Her roast. Oh my
roast.
god, brutal.
good lord, it was brutal, and
Yeah.
it was super funny.
Yeah.
And just a whip.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool to just be around, like to try to be around Emily Heller, who did that thing for
Oh my
Emmys.
god.
Did you see her Emmy thing? And
She wore green screen. She wore like a
green bodysuit.
What's it called? Mo. When you what?
It's a Morphe suit.
a Morphe
It's called a
suit?
Morphe suit. Okay.
Okay.
And it usually has those little balls all over it, right? When you're.
It's a mocap suit.
Oh yeah, that's right,
Mocap.
mocap. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But was it a mocap suit?
It wasn't. It was just green.
It's a green screen
Yeah,
suit,
it was
so
just-
you can just project any
Yes.
any image on it. It was really
And
really
people did a
brilliant,
really
hilarious.
nice. I like the Transformer one. There was a lot of good work being done, but she was out. I mean, and then you just sit in the back and you're like, you watch someone like Barbara Gray or Brandy Posey
Mm-hmm.
or Carmen Morales, and you just watch all these. For me, it's like they're new comics.
Yeah.
but they've been doing it for a dozen years.
Yeah,
right,
right.
And there's that time right around 9 to 15 that you're like, you can either get really good or you can settle into some bitter bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Save
so-
that for when you're 54, guys.
Right. There's no reason to jump the gun, you guys.
But what? So
keep
what,
the hope.
But where are we in this? Like, if we can observe that in these comics. So
Right.
what are we? Are we just refusing to give up, or we are like these irritating barnacles that won't get off the ship, or something? Like, what are we?
Well,
you know,
I mean, the thing is it's not. I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't say that to an author, right?
no.
You wouldn't say, oh well, N.K. Jemisin won 3 Hugos. I guess she's done. Why does she start painting for a living? And
No, but I mean, like if you look at the industry trajectory, right?
Right.
They love when you're a female comic and you get in that zone, your early 30s,
Oh,
they
yeah.
fucking love you.
Well,
and if you get plucked from that, and moved up, that okay, so you'll have something. But if you don't, and you just keep going, which I feel like that's kind of you and me,
right.
What
Oh, without that sort of
Industry-wise.
without blowing the fuck up.
Yes,
Okay.
industry wise, what are like I don't even
Like,
know
what
what
did they
we're
imagine we're
considered.
doing?
Yeah, like when I run into some
You're
of these
right.
people and I'm like, what are you thinking about me right now? I'm just curious as to how you've categorized me as a comic in your head, or
Man, that is a terrible neighborhood. You got to fucking get out of that neighborhood in your brain
Yeah.
box when you see those
aren't you
people.
curious though?
I am now, but at the time, I'm trying to remember who the fuck they are. It's just some crazy haircut that I'm like, oh man, I know they're powerful.
I had.
Oh, look, it's Dave Becky. Look, it's,
I mean, guys like that, like they'll come in.
of course, with their clients.
Yeah,
and
at Conan. So I'm like, hey, hi, and agents and stuff like that. And
you're like the stone agent guy. Remember that guy, the stoner guy he's really nice. But he's
a comic.
But he's always stoned.
Wait,
That guy.
you
Remember?
ran out of ink on the last name.
I did run out of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Is he always stoned? I just thought he was a chill guy.
He was in the 90s.
I thought you were going to write the name Arj Barker.
Oh, Arch Barker. We know he's stoned because
Yeah.
he's admitted it.
Yes.
And but this guy, I don't want it to affect.
Sure.
I don't want anyone who thinks he isn't stoned to go, hey, but I wonder if that guy's stoned, because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's always been distantly polite to me, which is literally that defines how
The industry
has been to me.
Distantly polite.
Distantly
Yes.
polite for 35 years.
Always glad to say hello. Never glad to say, hey, would you like an hour?
Right. And I don't know. What are you gonna? I mean,
I don't know. I guess I'm doing a CD because nobody wants it.
right.
Nobody wants it as an hour special, even though I think it'd probably be a pretty good one. Pretty solid jokes in there, but nobody's fucking interested. So, all right, I'll just put out a CD.
Right. Well, I mean, you think about it, everybody's sort of doing their own thing. If I mean, when somebody gets passed up by
Yeah.
all of the major places,
You just wrote down a name. Yes.
I just wrote down a name, and
Just recently?
yeah,
Ridiculous.
had to do it herself, and
What?
Yeah, had to do it herself, and now they're shopping it.
Welcome to the future, Laurie.
This is welcome to the present.
The money
It's in the
is
future.
gone. Now it's just people who like doing it.
Yeah, right. I mean, and they're just people who like
And
doing it.
Chappelle has the balls to complain.
Right.
Oh my God, he got
Right.
$60 million.
And then Eddie Murphy, who hasn't done stand up in 30 years, and he's going to get 70, right? For one
Right.
1 hour?
That will be bad.
Might be bad, might be
Will be
good.
bad.
You think it'll be bad?
100%.
Nostradamus over
Fingers crossed.
here. Fingers crossed that it'll suck
If it's
ass.
something great.
Good luck. Good luck, fella.
Good luck at reinventing the wheel 30 years later.
But he could actually build a comedy club in his home and do sets every single night.
Oh, he could Prince it. He could just do like a Prince kind of thing, invite people over.
Yes.
And
Maybe
and
he's
just
doing that now.
I hope he is, because that'll mean that the show will be good.
Maybe he's doing like 4 hours a night in his garage. That would be amazing.
Much of it is just gay slurs in a jumpsuit.
Oh God, I hope it is not just
Wow.
gay slurs in a jumpsuit.
I'm sure.
That's what his act was.
it was.
Not Eddie Murphy, but his stand-up is gay slurs in a jumpsuit.
All right.
Sure. Yes. I'm sure it will.
I only
be
saw
different.
Raw, and I remembered having some shock laughs, because that's. I mean, the thing is you're just like, he said poop, like when you're 4 years old and someone
Right,
says
right, right.
poop. That's what some comics are. 60 years later, where we're like, oh, they said a weird
Yeah.
poop shoot word. I have that's my new closer. Got 2 new lines. I'm saying the word poop twice.
shoot.
Possibly poop shoot.
I have a new
Come and see the live stuff. Oh, did you get a new notebook?
Yes. First, well, it's an old one I started. I've lost the 4-screen notebook like 3 times, right? And so I keep like buying a new one and I'll
Yeah.
start it and then I'll find it.
Yeah.
So finally I finished 4-screen, and this one, I had a few. I was like, oh, it's tainted
that a
with
moleskin?
other jokes. Yeah. Do you like
nice.
it? It's
I do
kind of
like
pinkish.
it, actually. Yeah.
Try to vary my colors.
Right. You don't want to go green to green to green.
No, I did that.
Yeah. Because I'm working on my Cambodian elephant notebook. I think you're using it for inventory.
I'm using it to track my movies, my all my movie ideas.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for like my videos that I'm going to make little movies out of.
Oh, okay.
Stand-up videos. But guess so. I do back up my computer frequently.
Good.
Somebody had emailed, was very worried, and suggested Backblaze, which I'd used on a laptop a long time ago, and I just kind of let it expire. So I ordered Backblaze again. It's a backup system, it's
Like a
cloud
cloudy kind of thing, yeah.
And So I started backing it up, and it's going to take 58 days to back up my computer. And I put it on high. Like before that,
Yeah.
they're like 120 days.
Wow.
Toggle your settings. Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on a new notebook. I don't know. That's the news. Sometimes that's big news.
It is big news. Why don't we do a break?
There's nothing quite like sailing in the calm international waters on my ship, the SS Biopic.
Avast! It's actually pronounced biopic.
No, you dingus! It's biopic!
Who the hell says that? It's biopic. It comes
It's
with
the
word
words for biography and picture.
If you
All right, that is enough. Ahoy! I'm Dave Holmes. I am the host of the rebooted podcast formerly known as International Waters, designed to resolve petty but persistent arguments like this. How? By pitting two teams of opinionated comedians against each other with trivia and improv games, of course. Winner takes home the right to be right.
What podcast be this?
It's called Troubled Waters, where we disagree to disagree.
We did a break, you guys. And should we do Comic of the Week?
What time are we? 29.
Oh, just at 29. Look at me calling it. Let's do Draw Different
Oh, yes. Okay. So Ellington Wells
is our Comic of the Week.
She's very funny. Her Twitter handle is Draw Different.
Yep.
Everything spelled normally. And I saw her at Chatterbox. They did a spot at Chatterbox. Do you love that gig?
West, I've never done it. I've just
What?
been told that I should play it for the last dozen years.
It's so fun.
It's so far
when
away.
you know what? At night, it's Sunday night.
Yep.
You drive out there. There's no traffic. It's like 20 minutes.
Oh,
at the
really?
most. Yeah. Maybe 25 feet if you're coming from Encino.
Right. So,
But you drive out there, and it's just like any other far drive. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a bad idea, right? And then you pull up, it's a bar. You're like, oh, no.
What's
what am I
happened?
doing? And then you walk in, it's fucking packed. They have the audience trained. They
Yeah.
tell them up front, if you make noise, we're gonna fucking heckle. We're gonna throw you out.
Mm-hmm.
No videotaping. No. And the audience is like cool with it. They're
Yeah.
trained. Is
That's
a
awesome.
long running gig.
That's 'cause it's a long-running
Steve
gig.
Hernandez. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Hernandez.
It's great.
Yeah.
And so
I should do it.
You should do it. And she did a spot, and she was hilarious. Really funny jokes, and
Ellington Wells, you guys.
hard to predict and all that. Impossible to predict the punchlines. I love that.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
where's this one going? Oh, that's different. I didn't
that's
see
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to look her up because we were just, it was too much stuff today. But that's great. Ellington Wells, I'm gonna look for her. Draw Different.
She has tweeted, it seems like 4 times in her entire life, but maybe she's more on Instagram. I mean,
Yeah,
the
go look
word
her up on
draw is
Instagram.
in her handle.
Oh,
so
there you go.
perhaps she's
Yeah.
more of an
So
Insta lady.
Maybe it's more imagery. Mm-hmm. So very beautiful. Well, I did a thing with Paul Kozlowski the other day. You know Paul Kozlowski of the Fake Gallery?
I do. And Brian Kiley just talked about Paul Kozlowski today.
He has a podcast. Can you look it up, Kyle? Paul Kozlowski, and he did it a year ago where he had to move away, right? The Fake Gallery was in Koreatown for 15 years, 20 years, right?
It was a comedy room, but it was a bunch of other
Also
things
his
too.
art gallery.
And didn't he live upstairs or
And he
something?
lived upstairs,
Yeah.
in the back. And
That's my ideal gig, by the way, where the commute
then you
is
just walk
downstairs.
upstairs.
Yeah.
At the end of the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have 2 pieces of art in our house because his art is hilarious.
It's really
and
cool.
beautiful and
Yes.
cool.
I would love some
Paul
of his art.
Kozlowski. And it was so he has this podcast where Look Who Showed Up, and
Mm-hmm.
it is and you go in, and it was the day that I did it was Dana Gould, Rick Overton, myself, Karen Kilgariff, and he knows everybody.
Wow.
And so he tries to bring people in, and then he does first, and then everybody sits in their own little area with their own little mic. And
Wait,
then
this is in where?
this is in Los Angeles, and he kind of
But
rented
doesn't
out
he
a
live in
space.
upstate?
He lives
New York?
Yeah, he lives in upstate New
So
York.
he's just out here for a while?
Yeah, he's just out for a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
Where he records for 3 days
Straight?
straight,
Oh my God.
straight.
Oh
and then
my
he spends
God.
4 months editing.
Oh my God.
Look Who Showed Up, which is like 10 episodes, or how many? I don't even know how many episodes. It might have been 4 episodes of fake parties. So it might be 6 episodes. It was like essentially it's a party at my house, and so 8 episodes of the first season.
Yeah.
And so he records, you do wild lines, which is, hey, Paul,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And, but you're on mic with him. It was me and Kyle Kinane in the first season. And in this season, it's me and Kilgariff. And we're in different rooms on mics with headphones, each being recorded separately so that he can edit and himself as well, all 3 of us on different tracks. And then he will spend 4 months creating parties. Creating this, it's such a very.
Oh my God.
It's like something that Dana Gould would do, or
I
Matt
love that
Weinhold,
someone
or-
like him exists. I mean,
It is a
that is
delight.
so much work, and
There's nothing for it.
I guess he can
It's
just lose
the joy
himself
of it.
in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got that and his dogs. Wow. He's got a lot of dogs. He's a dog guy.
Sure.
But he lives up in, pardon me, upstate New York. He was going to help this guy start this comedy club. Remember that guy?
No.
That passed away, the 27-year-old
Oh,
guy?
that's right.
Yeah. That was last week.
Right.
27 guy just had not an aneurysm, you'll be happy to know, but something else, and it blew him up, and blew, like a blood clot or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't remember.
right. So something they
27,
undetected was going to start a comedy club.
Right. The doctor said that. Right. And so he's talking about the guy, and there is, of course, the horrible part of me that's like, so has anyone picked up the mantle of?
Oh,
is that
sure.
club
Yeah,
still
right,
gonna
right. No, that's
open?
that's not even horrible. That's
It
that's
is.
common sense.
No, we're right here.
Yeah.
Me and you, we're horrible. But
We have no perspective on what's horrible or not anymore.
Yeah, the perspective is horrible. And he said that his wife, who is also 27,
Oh God.
wants to do it. But
Wow.
all the comics that are from that town are pretty new.
Yeah.
And so he was in sort of final negotiations with the guy who passed. And to build it right and to finance it right and the place where it's going to be and all these things and when it was going to open. And he doesn't know if it's still going to happen. But
Right.
it was just a nice weekend where I thought it would be great for all those comics, the up and coming headliners, right?
Yeah.
Or just people who want to go to upstate New York and do a new room. Like, because it would be 4 or 5 shows.
Yeah.
I think it was just a Friday, Saturday. But I was talking, he was like, what do you think it should be? And I said, what do you want? You want a headliner who, you don't necessarily need to bring in the big names that, that Helium is filling these rooms because you're in a small town.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make an investment. And if you bring somebody into town, here's what I want you to pay everyone as a starting wage to headline 4 or 5 shows. It's $2,000. It's air and hotel. That's what I want. That's what, if someone has 45 minutes and they have to fly across the country,
Right.
let them go home with all of their $2,000.
Right.
Or they spend $100 in food for the 3 days that they're there.
Yeah.
Right. And then ground and air. So it might cost you $3,000 total a weekend. So then you figure out if it's going to cost you $3,000 for the headliner, the feature, do the world a favor. Pay the feature. If you're doing locals, that's between you and your God. But it'd be great if it were $350, right? And that's someone who's driving up from the city, or someone who's local. You could probably even go lower if they were local. But if they're driving up from the city, it'd be nice if it were $350 in a hotel. No, you don't have to cover air at that level. They're used to making shit money. $350 in a hotel would be a delight. No, it'd be 3 nights.
2. I
Is
thought you
that-
said Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday.
Saturday, 2 shows a night.
Yeah. You'd go 400
What I make for 2 shows.
for 2 shows,
4 shows in 2 days.
$50 a show. Is that? Wait, $100 a show. $100 a show.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That was the
seems
standard
fair.
in '95 when I was featuring for Triple 100 a show.
Yeah, but that
But,
was.
this one is
but that
you're
was
staying
where
in one location
You're
and
one
stuff like that.
location, then you'd keep driving the
Yeah.
Tribble, Yoder,
Yeah,
Muller, model.
Still, Jesus Christ, how are people supposed to pay for their lives?
They don't. Because I've been hearing that it was $350 for 5 shows for the weekend.
For 5 shows?
Yeah, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, I've been doing that's 5. It's $100 per show.
That'd be 500 shows. Well, I know that Acme pays better than that. I think out of town features get 6.
Yeah, some plots do.
Yeah,
my
but
standard is the 9.
I've heard that it was $50 a show, and then MCs were $25. Yeah. The squinty McClintock that I'm getting from Kyle is like, ew. Yes, it's terrible. Right, it
I
is
was getting
criminal.
like 500, 550 for Aubrey Pippin rooms in like the mid 90s.
To feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting about 500.
Spellbinders, you ever work Spellbinders in Houston?
No.
Oh, 2 weeks at a time. Yeah, and I think it was nice. 2 weeks in Houston.
There's a very old Lenny Bruce bit about Lima, Ohio. He was there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in Houston?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Same crowd?
Well, no, people don't come back every single night to a comedy show.
Right, but they come back the next week, don't they? Or
No, who does that really? Yeah,
It's
and
fans,
psychopaths.
fans.
Well, I think in
Comedy
the mid
fans.
'90s it was just
Just walk ups and
yeah,
weird.
couples united by their love of coke and stuff like that. It wasn't. They weren't comedy fans, right?
Fair enough.
They never knew who the
Right,
headliner
it was.
was.
Pre-comedy nerddom for
They-
sure.
Yeah, there was no way to track comics or anything. You may
Yeah.
have seen them on Caroline's or something, but they didn't know who the headliner was or anybody. So
Yeah, you were just. I do love. Don't you love sitting next? Because it still happens. You'll. I would go hang out. Like at the Comedy Works, you could go and eat at Lucy's before the show, and so I would go there for breakfast every day. And then by the time and when I say breakfast, we're talking 10:30, 11. And then I go down and there's someone working the box office, and they'll answer the phone, and you're like, no, well, Jackie Cation is the comic tonight. No, she's really funny. And then they just, if you've ever stood next to somebody,
when they're
who's-
trying to sell you
when they
or
have
they're
to
not selling
explain
you?
what kind of comedy.
Oh, my God.
Like just people calling up, and I was just like, my favorite, of course, is Jared at Bloomington, the comedy addict, who's like, well, go online. There's lots of videos.
and fuck you if you don't like her.
Right. And no, of course that's why I booked her. What do you think? I'm booking people I don't think I do, Jared. I hope you're listening because it's a delight.
You know how I love to host a podcast, Jackie.
Yes.
I've been asked to host a podcast on the.
Did you tell him you had a podcast?
Well, listen to the setup.
All
It's for Conan. It's behind a Stitcher paywall. And they're going to do, starting with Late Night in 93, they're going to take 5 sets from stand-ups and play them. And I'm going to sort of introduce, and perhaps they're like, if you have any commentary, I'm like, oh, I'll have commentary. But yeah, I can kind of talk about them a little bit and then introduce all 5 clips.
Okay. And
Yeah.
All 5 comics too? Are you going to have guests or just,
No guests,
So it'll just be like a half an hour or 45 minutes or whatever.
Probably like 45 minutes. Like maybe at what 5 times 5 is 25. Yeah, probably 40, 35 to 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I wonder, I don't know.
Guess what?
It's a-
I'm getting paid.
Yeah, that's what I was, that was the next question.
Yeah.
And well, you should be.
I think we're doing like 8 years the first season. So each show, like 93 to like maybe 2001 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But that's not bad, right?
A week?
No, for the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 8 episodes.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right.
Something like that.
That's great.
I'll let you know more, but I'm doing the first ones. I will have done them by the time this drops, but I don't know
really?
when they'll air. Yeah.
Because you're doing them this week?
This Friday, yeah.
You're doing all of them this?
No,
it's
not
sort
all
of
of them. Like maybe 3 or 4 or something.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of that sort of talking head kind of stuff from the, VH1.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
It feels like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Old sets, old Patrice, old Marin, Karen.
Is there a theme?
Keilinger.
Is everyone dead? Oh, that'd be great. If
Oh my God.
Come on.
Janine Tutulio. Do you remember Janine Tutulio?
I never met Janine Tutulio
She
or
worked
heard
for
of her.
Conan, and she was a stand-up in New York, and then she kind of I don't know, she just stopped performing and she kind of went away. I don't know what happened to her. I heard that she had a movie script that she kept re-optioning, which is like fresh amounts of money for
Right.
the
You
same
just
thing
sit
you wrote.
around.
Yeah.
And,
but I don't know what's up with her. I got to look her up.
Yeah. What's
I
her
met
name?
her once. She's funny. Jean Titulio. JANINETITULO.
All right. That's cool. Because I think about it's fun being on Max Fun. We were just looking at making a T-shirt for
Oh, yeah.
the holidays.
Oh, yeah. Our holiday merch.
Holiday merch that Max Fun is like, we need you to have holiday merch, and we're like, Oh, okay. And and then they have an artist, an in-house artist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
Should
So
we describe it, or is it top secret?
I don't. Is it? Hey, Mac. None of us would know. How
It's
would
like
we
a
know?
Mead notebook.
Yeah, it's like the pin that they did last year for the fundraiser,
Oh, okay.
which was a comic of the week pin.
Yeah.
With a Mead notebook. That's right. It's called a Mead
Uh-huh.
notebook. MEAD.
I use Meads for my journal writing, which is
Okay.
me just complaining for 5 minutes every morning before everyone wakes
Oh,
up.
the artist's way.
Yes.
Nice. Pages.
Yes.
Doing your pages.
That's what I do my Mead. And then the moleskins for the jokes.
That's it. Do you ever pull anything out of the Mead, put them into the moleskin?
No, and I thought these are just useless. It's not even good as a diary.
Yeah,
It's
you're not
just-
supposed to keep them. But
Yeah.
according to Artist's Way,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would they
supposed to
say
toss
burn
'em.
'em?
Just toss them.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Someone
have a
could
hard
read them,
time
though.
throwing away anything I've written because what if there's something there? I got napkins. I got weird scraps of pieces of paper. The poor bastards. I mean, comics are hard on napkins, especially those coffee shop gigs in the late '90s here
Oh,
in
yeah.
Los Angeles. We were hard on napkins.
I bring my notebook everywhere. I don't write on napkins anymore.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You're saving a twig. So, comic of the week pin was the pin if you became a Max Fun member. Mm-hmm. They were enamel pins, and so the T-shirt for for Christmas or the holidays is that image, comic of the week, on a Mead notebook.
Yeah.
But it also says the word future.
That's right.
So, future comic of the week T-shirt.
So, ladies, please don't get mad at us. We'll get to you.
Yeah, eventually. We want to get to everyone, but you know what? Here's the good news. More comics all the time. And
Is that
more-
good news?
Yes.
Did you see? Oh, fucking people are having really good late night sets on David Spade's show.
I saw that one guy.
Brian Simpson.
Yeah.
Great. And then Lara, what's
Scor-
her last name? Begins with a B. Beats?
Laura Beats? What?
Lara, Lara, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really funny. Now, both of them were like club sets, and that the language was pretty
Salty?
blue. Yes.
Salty?
Yes. And I guess they bleeped it when it aired on Comedy Central. But it's also, when you watch them anyplace else, they're in their full glory.
Yes.
And it's just like no one watches shit when it airs anymore.
Nope.
You know? So it's weird to be like, yeah, I did a late night set, and I know you're gonna watch it at 10:30 in the morning at work.
Right. Right, which
Like,
is why
who
it's got to be
cares?
captioned.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
Everything's so weird now. But
But there's panel, and then there's comics making their late night debuts on this David Spade
I
thing.
do love how Spade's like, yeah, I saw this person at the club. Dude, you weren't at the club last night. You
Right, are
did
you
not
going to
see them
clubs?
and invite them the next day. But who fucking cares? And
Right.
but the sets are really good, and it looks.
How long
great.
are the sets?
That's 5 minutes.
Are they? Because I saw the Simpson one, the Brown
Yeah.
guy, and I couldn't. I was trying to because I was like listening, going, "Oh, that's a great joke, and that's a great joke,
So
and that's a
many
great joke,
jokes,
and that's a
yeah.
great joke," but I couldn't focus on how long this. I was curious how long the sets were.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. I didn't think. I don't know. So anyway, I didn't think that Spade would be doing that. They also did something where they had Whitney Cummings and
Doing panel or set?
no, she was doing a Cyrano with this guy who shot Osama bin Laden, one of the SEAL Team 6
Okay.
members who wanted to do stand up. What?
I mean, in that video,
Oh, are
Kyle's in
you?
that video?
When?
I was at the show where they did that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
For another friend who was at doing a show.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
So it's in the belly room, and the guy is repeating lines that Whitney and I forget who the other comic was. It was a guy. Were saying.
of things to say to
Yes.
the Osama.
So they had written jokes, right?
Okay.
It's great, fucking great jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spade team had written them, or whoever
Yeah.
did. And some really funny jokes. And he did them all. And he had a good set, and I was enjoying it. And I was like, fuck. Now we're going to have a SEAL team, a fucking Navy SEAL. Please, I hope he didn't like it that much. That's what always worries me. Like when Nicole Blaine does the Virgin shows.
Yeah.
It's like, I always tell them, you're supposed to give advice. And I'm like, I hope you hate it.
Yeah.
Because if you like it, your life's over.
Well, and
It's
you're
ruined.
a lawyer, so you've
Yeah.
already successfully. You're a financial advisor. You
Yeah.
don't need to do stand up.
You can have a good life.
Well, maybe there's something missing from their lives. Maybe they're like, what? Maybe they're in a box of lawyerness, and they're like, I've always wanted to do stand up.
Just try it and then pat yourself on the back and continue on with your life. That's my advice.
Keep shoveling sand, and
well, if you're shoveling sand, you might as well fucking be doing stand up.
right. Can we do another Max Fun?
Yeah.
What do you look for in a book? Literally, if on the back it said, like, this book made me shit my pants, I'd be like, I'm buying this book.
Yeah.
Like, I think the problem with blurbs a lot of times...
I like that we both want to crap ourselves over books.
What's the best way to e-read in the tub?
Listen to that noise. I'm reviewing a plastic bag today.
How do you find a good book?
This is the most fucked up weird shit you've ever read. You're like, into it.
I'm like,
hand it over.
Take my money.
I'm Bria Grant.
And I'm Mallory O'Mara. We're Reading Glasses, and we solve all your bookish problems. Every Thursday on Maximum Fun.
Where are we at?
I saw, and I didn't get her name. I'll get her name next time. But when I was at the stand on Saturday, there's a female comic talking about being incredibly wealthy. And it was funny.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was there were some really funny jokes there, and that's not, usually the place people come from. Everyone's hiding their wealth and pretending they were.
Right. Do you remember the Leno? I read an interview with Leno one time that was interesting about how he sent his parents to Europe.
Right.
And how the audience didn't want to hear about it. And and he said he had to change the joke to him and his siblings had saved up to go to Europe to send their parents to Europe. And it just made it more accessible.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I feel weird talking about traveling with I don't really mention that I took my kid places, because I do, a lot of people can't.
Yeah, almost everybody.
Yeah,
can't.
Bragging about it.
Yeah.
It's like not cool in a way. It's hard to make that funny.
Right.
But I liked her point of view of that being wealthy was a burden and a pain in the ass. And if you're a good writer, all you have to do is
That's a hell of a premise.
Explain your burden.
Yeah.
Like she was born into it, right?
Right.
She didn't earn it. She was born into it. Her parents are wealthy. And if you explain your burden really well, people can understand it and they can laugh at it,
Right.
I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a billionaire. Her family's the Dreyfus Fund. That's her family.
Really?
Yeah, she could have had a great life. No one would know who she was. But,
Right.
she
Wanted to act.
still put it all out on the line, and she's brilliant.
Right.
There's other people, this one's wealthy, and she pretends like she's not. But she comes from money.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
Yeah. She's a pill.
Yes, totally.
Anyway, so this one, did you meet this? Have you ever met this one?
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
Yeah, she gave her a ride home from a gig the other night, and she was talking about her deal, right? And I
She's
was like,
a great joke writer.
well, and I said, well, who is your dad? And because I missed her last name on the intro,
Yeah.
and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm an asshole for thinking you would know." And I was like, "Well, I don't know who anyone is." And then she said her dad's name. I was like, "Well, I know who that guy is." And
Jackie, just say it's a former comic of the week.
has she been a comic of the week?
Yes.
Well, you could say it.
Camilla Cleese.
Yeah,
Her father is John Cleese.
right? And so we did that. We did this weird H Club. Have you ever done this H Club gig?
I don't think so.
It was the second weird gig I did. I was like, I did the golf course. Remember the golf course I did?
Yeah.
The same week I did the H Club, which is a club that you can only get into if you're a member.
Mm-hmm.
It's on. It's in Hollywood, obviously, because the H stands for Hollywood. And
Oh, wait. Is it on like the 6th floor?
yeah,
And the room is kind of blue?
the room is well lit. Like I can see everybody, and we all
I have been there, but I may be confusing it with another room.
right. And the gig was actually quite fun. Everyone was nice.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The audience was great, and she went up, and she was actually she was funny. She had
Yeah.
a lot of good jokes and stuff. Camilla Cleese. But then I gave her a ride home, and the only reason I didn't want because she was beating herself up that she had brought up.
Oh, that she
was talking about
she
writing
thought
for her
she,
dad.
She was assuming that you knew her dad.
She was like, I don't want to be that jerk. And I was like, that's not a jerk. I don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
And I missed her last name when she was introduced. I saw her set, which was very funny, but I missed her introduction, and I knew her name was Camilla, but that's all I knew. And and she was like, oh, my dad's, and she didn't have a British accent.
Yeah.
And her dad is John Cleese.
Right.
So I was like, and literally once she said that, there was a long pause, and then I said, isn't your dad opening a comedy club in Santa Barbara?
Oh, is
Could
he?
I please? And she was like, oh, with Andrei Belikov,
The
the guy who books the one-nighters up there.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was thinking the chef that's feeding Puerto Rico. That's somebody else.
Yeah. And so that was some people, and she was like, she was talking about horseback riding, and she was like, it's weird. She was talking about how weird it was to come for money, and some of her jokes come from that too. So it was interesting. It's a hard premise to do, but just because you don't want to alienate it's like when
Well, it is a crown of thorns to put on an infant. Like you're this, right? I was just looking at pictures of baby Archie.
Yeah.
He's such a cutie. But man, I mean, you were talk about being born in a box.
But the weird, I saw, damn it, what is her name? I think it wasn't Pallavi. It wasn't, it was, she was on the podcast that Pallavi Gunalan does. And I'm probably massacring the pronunciation.
You got her name right.
Did I get it right? Okay, she does a podcast with these two other women. And one of them I saw do at three clubs, the three clubs.
Yeah.
Did some material about being good looking, and she's really good looking,
Right.
And the audience was not. She had to fucking square peg round hole to get those punchlines to work because they got mad at her at first, and she was like, "Nope." You don't get to be mad at me. This is the cross I bear, and I do stand up comedy, and so we're going to talk about it. I mean, how many dudes talk about being good looking? Like the new guys. Like
Right.
there's a bunch of new young male comics. There's Kyle right here, and then there's a bunch of new young male comics who are super foxes.
Yeah.
and they have to address it. You know, like they look like.
Matthew Broussard's really good at that.
Yeah.
Like he'll open with,
So good at
I know you think I look like a douchebag or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
Right, and there's just a couple of dudes who do look like douchebags, and you're just like, I got to meet Jeff Tice, who did our poster.
Okay.
And does a lot of art.
Yeah.
That guy, he's a fucking dreamboat. He is a dreamy, dreamy dude. And he's like, I know it. I know what I look like. He didn't say
Jackie,
that.
are you telling everyone who's attractive that you find them attractive to find out their reaction?
You would think, but no. It's the thing is Gramication over here gets to tell people that they're good looking now in my twilight years.
Sure.
And not have to think that anyone's hitting. I'm not hitting on them. I'm
Right.
just like,
I know. It is nice to be safe. Like you're in a
Right.
safe space now.
Right, I'm in a safe space. I'm just like, look at you with your regular features. Well played. Well played. Look at you doing sit-ups. Nice work.
But then there's other people that are
Goonie looking? No.
well, no, like let's say a little bit younger than us.
Yeah.
So they're still thinking to themselves, I look 30. And so
I'm gonna need. We're gonna need some names. You got one?
well, you know.
I got one.
Are we writing the same
Nope.
name? No. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I mean, where
And yes.
it's like, oh my God, this guy's going down hard and I can't wait to watch it.
oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's hard. You know, it's hard.
It's hard to age as a guy too. I mean, at least women were prepared to be dumped by society, but you guys are not fucking ready for it, and you're growing your hair long, and guess what? We're on to you.
Right. Oh, we're growing your hair long. Yeah, that's bananas. There's so many of these guys who, I mean, neither of those two guys are like the handsome level of like actor handsome.
That you need to be to propel yourself into Brad Pitt's
right. None of those guys that we wrote
Right.
down are Brad Pitt guys, but they're good looking for comics.
Yeah.
And how has that changed in the last 35 years? It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I remember someone saying it in like the 80s going, well, he's good looking for comedy.
Yeah.
And then and this is something separate because I don't think he plays this. He actually has turned into, he's a guy that's like, no, I am aging. It's all working out. It's Paul Provenza. And Paul Provenza, when he got that gig on Northern Exposure,
Oh yeah.
remember? Because he took somebody's spot. I think he took.
Oh yeah. The guy. I forget his name.
The tiny
Rob or something.
the tiny guy.
Yes.
Anyway, so Paul Provenza takes his spot, and I remember they
right.
put him through a rock tumbler, and they made him look smooth and handsome because he was kind of scruffy, good looking, like Geraldo.
Yes.
Right. He had that scruff good look.
Yeah.
And then they put him through a rock tumbler, and we were all like, "What the hell happened to?" He looks great, and he's always been handsome. I think Paul Provenza's a good looking guy.
Yeah.
And he has aged into a guy that is a good looking older guy because the aging process is inexorable.
He's got good bones though.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how we got off on that, but
But
you know what? Congratulations to you good-looking people because you are free to be yourselves now on stage.
Exactly. Talk it up. Talk about being rich. Talk about being good looking. Talk about having the biggest dick in the world. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, as long as you can
you ever hear that,
articulate
Eric?
why it's a pain in the ass
Big dick, we know why. Thanks for playing. Thanks for playing, you guys. I'm gonna drop the mic.
Please come see me at the Vermont Comedy Club, and then also the Punchline in San Francisco.
Did you know? Do you ever listen to that Eric Bogosian talk radio?
No.
One-man show sketchy thing that he did.
You lost me at one-man show.
Right. It was
He's really good on
outstanding.
Succession. Do you watch Succession on HBO?
Nope. You ever seen Axel? Anyway, so
No. God.
real defensive about Ben Acker the other day. He was like, you got to watch Patriot on Amazon. And so I put it on and I was like, this is a goddamn nightmare. And
My mom likes it if that's any indication of how bad it is.
Oh, it is incredibly well done. And it could not be darker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it is super dark.
Okay.
Very occasionally and I only made it through 20 minutes of the first episode. I understand it gets a little bit it isn't quite so dark in the second. Like, it's still dark, but it's really well written and really well acted.
Yeah.
I don't care. The world's on fire outside right in front of me. I don't need to watch it on Amazon. So, but Eric Bogosian's on Succession.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But talk radio, it's from the late 90s.
Yeah, I know.
Middle
I remember.
90s or something. And but it was a he would do these sketch, like sort of one-man sketch character kind of work kind of thing. It can and was done so horribly, which is why you have that knee-jerk reaction. Allow me to say that Eric Bogosian rose above it.
I'm sure
and
he
was
did.
better.
I just don't want to see people and their characters.
It's an audio.
Okay.
So it was, but one of them was about a guy with a really big dick and what a burden it was. And it could not have been funnier.
Oh, my God. That's great.
And there was another sketch about just a goddamn nightmare of a corporate dude and him talking to his wife and then him talking to his mistress and then him talking to his employees. And it gives Wall Street, the movie, a run for its money in its time. And they're all blessedly tight. They're short.
Okay.
Like 3 to 5 minutes. I don't think it's anywhere. I don't think you can hear it.
You could probably find it someplace.
It's got to be somewhere. But I used to have a cassette, and I literally listened to it so much it broke it. Because, first of all, very few Armenian role models. And he just wrote this.
Oh, that's right.
Eric Bogosian.
He means something to your people.
He East Coast Armenian, though.
Yeah.
He might as well be William Saroyan. Because,
Oh, my God. Look at you dropping names.
Well, I can name most of your Armenians from the 12th century. And the technicians. That's what my dad used to always point out. He's like, look at that guy's Armenian. He's technician.
Oh, my God.
That's a pun.
That's such an Elliot Cation
That's
joke.
a very
I've
Elliot
never met him,
Cation.
but I know him.
It's, yeah. And if you were to meet him, you'd be like, she's made you sound great. Anyway, where are we at here?
We are at. Oh shit! We just hit it.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.